de Krachtwerken. And we have a good one. This one is way overdue. I have been meaning to do this for ages, and the reason being, I love this little thing. This is the JOYO Bantamp range. These are those two little 20 watt amps, lunchbox amps, which come in all ranges. They mimic oranges and Mesa Boogies, Engels, JCM 800s, etc. But I've got the Bantamp, which is the JOYO Bantamp Meteor, and you'll see at the end of the names, or in the names, there's like highlighted letters. These indicate what they're supposed to be mimicking. Now they don't sound, they're in the same ballpark, they don't sound like, but they sound awesome, honestly. So this is the Meteor OR, so orange, and what I've done is I'm gonna go through quick settings, quickly tell you why I like it so much, and then there's also a nice little demo in a mix. So this is the clean channel. It's got clean and overdrive channel, and I think what really sets this thing apart is the overdrive channel. So let's switch it over. I will do a little bit of EQing and compression, but I'm gonna try and keep the sound from this as clean as possible, so that what you're hearing is basically what the amp sounds like. So I can also push it a little bit. This is an OCD clone pedal, but it is set up in such a way that it's just a mid-range push, kind of like you would use a tube screamer. As you can see, it kind of tightens up the bottom end a bit. Now I've got the drive pretty high here. So this is all clean, no reverb. I'm not going to put any reverb or anything like that on it, just to get an idea of the clean sound from the amp, not, you know, EQ too much, not too much reverb or delay or anything. Now what I really like is the drive. So this is just the drive of the pedal. So putting it down. $12 and let's put it full. as you can hear, it's kind of like got the orange character. I've played through the Micro Terror, and obviously I've had this one for a while, and I have to admit, no matter how much I love orange, I prefer this one for a couple of reasons. There's kind of like dirt sprinkled around the tone of the Micro Terror, which isn't here. It seems to be the signal is much cleaner. Now, obviously, some people might prefer one or the other. That's a personal thing. The other thing that I prefer about this one is that with the Micro Terror, especially on clean, the more you drive the gain, the more you drive the volume of the pedal, so you don't have proper control over the pedal. This one doesn't really do that much. If you put your volume on one thing, the gain doesn't really do that much for the overall volume. It actually changes the gain the drive structure. Otherwise, it's loud as hell. Actually, I think there's been quite a few YouTubers who've made explain that these small little lunchbox amps actually are room practicable, possibly even giggable. But gigs, I don't know. I've had this one with a stereo setup, and both were over the drums were completely clear, no problems. One of the reasons I'm making this video is because there's too many videos about things to buy, all those digital solutions and all that stuff, campers and all that, and I would hate somebody who's starting his journey on guitars to go and buy something like that. What these amps do, in my opinion, very well, not just this one, also the Micro Terror and some of the other wee lunchbox amps, one full valve, like 1 watts and all these kind of things, is that they give the player the ability to understand the amp and how an amp plays and what an amp should sound like, and they are very good pedal platforms. This one is an amazing pedal platform, actually. On clean, you can put anything through it. So if you're starting out playing, I think this is probably one of the best things to buy. The only downside is that you've got to buy a half decent cab with it. I would buy a cab that has at least a 12-inch speaker. Could be a cheaper brand, whatever, it doesn't matter, I think. But a 12-inch is where it starts sounding right. I think everybody will agree. These 8-inch and 10-inch speakers just don't cut it. So that is my suggestion. As for the amp, I'll just take this out. Switch off. Actually, I'll show it here. So it's got clean, overdrive, Bluetooth to play something through, gain, tone, volume, power, and then on the back they have an effects send and receive, and here, this little bit here is actually where the antenna for the Bluetooth goes, and you've got a speaker out, 8 ohms. So these are the nice things. These are the nice things about it. There are some downsides. I think there's a few things that all these lunchbox amp makers miss. The main one is they add things that I feel are not necessary, and they could rather replace that with something else. Like in this case, the Bluetooth, I don't see the point in it. I would never use it. Maybe an aux in if you want to play along with something, okay. Even that I don't feel really a requirement. I'd rather spend that money on having a 3-band EQ on it, so a bass, mid and treble instead of just a sweepable tone control. Now, although the tone controls always work really well and the amps sound amazing, I find it a little bit cheeky that the amp builders don't leave you with all the EQ controls. If you have one of these special sweeps like the ISF on the Black Stars separate and on top of your overall EQ possibilities, okay, fair enough. It is a sound shaping thing, but to have control of your bass, mids and treble, I think is something that they're all lacking. It's probably to save space in there or something, but that's what I'm saying. I think I would rather see the Bluetooth go and have a 3 EQ possibility. Other than that, what I really like about them, oh, that's the other thing. So if you get rid of some of the stuff that you don't need, could you maybe pump them up to maybe 30 or 40 watt, make them really giggable machines and not increase the size too much? I don't know. I'm not an amp designer. I don't know if that's possible. I think that would be cool. Anyway, I think for somebody who's starting out playing the Bantam range, the HT ones, the all valve ones from Blackstar, the Micro Terrors and Mini Terrors or whatever they're called, I think these are much better options than a shitty combo or some digital solution, because it gives you all the abilities to understand amps, use them as pedal platforms, and possibly even go into rehearsal rooms. And what I also like about them is that, especially this, which is not the case with the Micro Terror, I think the Micro Terror is still too loud if you want to get a good gain out of it. To drive the gain, you've got to crank the gain, and that brings the amp a bit too loud. And then it comes with this shitty little, I think 8 or 10 inch speaker, which I find just sounds horrific. I don't know why people think it sounds good. So I'd rather get a cheap 1x12 cab, maybe the Harley Benton or something like that, with a green back or something like that, Celestian in it, and one of these, and I think you're much better served. I think you've got a much better overall amp, and that is basically that. Bit of long yippy yappy about it, but I've been majorly impressed and I've been using it all the time, to be honest. If you put the volume down, you can get it really quiet. So, and then if you crank it up, it's got a really nice wide sweep. So you can get really loud. And the drive on this is immense. Even just using the amp as a preamp, so outing from the effects send and using just the preamp drive is a good idea, because it's got such a good sounding distortion, drive distortion sound. So anyway, that is it from me. Here is also a sound, kind of what it sounds like in a mix. Again, I didn't do much with the tone. I didn't kind of shape too much. I just EQ'd it for balance of the mix. I didn't do too much other than that. The only thing I would say is that the drive on the track is just the Bantam drive. There's no pedals included except for the little lead bit. I have pushed it with an OCD, but the drive all the way down, the tone on mid, and the volume up all the way. So kind of like tube streamer style boosting. And otherwise not much has been done. The bass obviously is not through this. It is just a bass cap. Okay, I hope you enjoy.